Yeah, good morning, good day, everyone from all around the world. And here we are gathering again in this 7 a.m. Pacific time meditation and Dharmette. I just kind of feel a sense of a warmth coming in. And so maybe you feel that way too. Kind of sense of a Sangha. So I want to orient ourselves a little bit for our meditation for this days, for this week. I like to evoke a nature-based metaphor as we meditate, and it builds up, from one day to another. It doesn't have to be that way. So if you join in between, it's not a problem. But I like to start today with this metaphor or a simile of sitting like a mountain. Maybe that evokes some kind of a stability or have some different associations you may have. And so I'll drop that in for meditation today. And then in the next few days, and I will build up this metaphor. So here we go, and I'm going to ring bell and we'll start. Taking a few long deep breaths. As you breathe out, arriving here and now. Maybe there is a kind of a familiarity, a sense of a coming home to ourselves. This moment, here, this place where we sit or stand or lie down. Being patient to arrive so we're not jerking our minds. Simple presence. Mindfulness front and center. Mindfulness all around. Mindfulness receiving, meeting what's here to be known. Maybe the overall sense of the body sitting. Or sense of the contact of the body with the earth underneath. Gently turn your attention to the contact between the body and the earth underneath. Maybe you feel the weight settling down. Hardness of the sit bones. Or stability of the pelvic floor. Softening and releasing the body towards the earth. There is a natural relational pull of gravity. Allow this earthy body resting on earth. Sitting like a mountain. Quiet mountain. Allow your attention to rest here if you like. Steady, still, connected with the earth underneath. in this last few minutes of the meditation together. Allow yourself to feel and sense the community practicing together, like walking into a mountain range. Maybe you can feel the potency of the vast stillness and quiet. Or maybe the stillness can expand to become vast. The silence can expand to become vast. And the silence that includes the sounds all around. And the stillness that can include movements. And feeling and sensing the goodness of practicing in community together. So as if we're offering blessings and gifts to ourselves and to each other. Maybe this bowing is an expression of gratitude to practice in Sangha. Gratitude for yourself to show up here in this way. So with that, I'm going to transition for this week's topic. I'd like to share some reflections about this word refuge. And refuge is a prominent Buddhist concept since the days of the Buddha. And the refuge itself may evoke different feelings for people. And I want to offer some different words that are also associated with this notion of a refuge. And so I'm going to drop in some of these words. So protection, shelter, sanctuary, or safety, a refuge being a place to rest in, or a safe container, a sense of a home, or a ground to rest on. And so all those words, for me, kind of evoke a sense of refuge in some way. And the resonance of the refuge has grown more and more multidimensional and came alive over the years of a practice and learning. And so I like to make attempt to share some of these different dimensions, different aspects, and I'm also calling it kind of different flavors of or textures of refuge for this week. So touching into this sense of refuge in different ways. And today, I kind of hinted in towards the end of our meditation together, I'd like to start with refuge in Sangha. Sangha, this Pali term, means a community that practices and learns together the Dharma. And so like how we've been doing on this 7 a.m. Gatherings, we're forming a Sangha, even though it's in a virtual field, and we're practicing together. And I like to speak about Sangha first because for many people, Sangha is where we began to find a sense of a refuge, a spiritual home, a shelter, a protection, or a safe container, a sanctuary. And that's how I began. And so my first exposure to Buddhism and Buddhist practices were not based on books or doctrines or teachings. And there was no YouTube back then, and there was, I didn't know about the recordings, and so some of this didn't even exist back then. So for me, it began when I first encountered a group of Buddhists in my college time. When I met this group of people, I distinctly noticed something very different. And this is a group of people that expressed qualities of generosity, kindness, and care in so many different ways that was quite intriguing for me. And I was drawn towards it immediately. And so that was the beginning of my Dharma journey. And reflecting forward, all the way to this day, throughout my Dharma journey, Sangha has been a refuge for me as a potent force to this date. In the realm of Buddha Dharma, Sangha specifically refers to the community that learns and practices the Dharma. And so it's not just any social community which has its own function, but the Sangha has a specific function and specific purpose. As Dharma practitioners, each person in the Sangha learns to cultivate wholesome qualities of a heart and mind and a body in a way that supports a well-being, a deeper care of ourselves and for each other and for the whole world. And that is so for the generations of a Sangha that came from ancient times all the way till now. And for me, kind of reflecting and observing this 7 a.m. Sangha over the past few years since the beginning of the pandemic, I'm feeling this growing sense of care, connectedness, and warmth, and a deeper kind of resonance with each other in some way. And this kind of a collective force inspires and sustains us and support us in our own Dharma journey and supports each other. Maybe what has been surprising for some of us is that somehow this virtual world would have this kind of palpable sense for us. That I don't think I had imagined this. No one probably could have imagined this some decades ago. That how is this possible? In our meditation, the last few minutes of a meditation, I invited for us to kind of tune in to some of this collective sense, a kind of a field. We're in the field of a practice together, even though we're not physically together. We're quite geographically dispersed all over on this planet. And yet, we can have a sense, maybe a hint of it. Wow, we're together here practicing. That's truly something. And for a Sangha to be a refuge, a sanctuary, a home for each of us, I also wanted to say that it also had to go beyond being an external entity that we go to, whether it's virtual or not. One of the most important functions of a refuge in Sangha is that it helps each of us to turn inward, to look within. And so there is this outside-in kind of effect here. When we're affected by the Sangha, people who practice Dharma, we are changed by it. And so it invites us to touch inside for us to feel and sense what is being affected and how does it shape and change us from within. The Buddha said to his disciples that when you're with good companions, when they practice the Noble Eightfold Path, then you will do so too. And so that's that outside-in kind of effect that I'm speaking about. And at the same time, there is also a kind of inside-out effect. When we are changed by the refuge in Sangha, our behavior, our heart and mind learn to stay with what we aspire to cultivate. And more, this have effect on the broader world we live in. Maybe start with the environment we're in. Maybe it has effects for the people around you. And so in this way, practicing the refuge or savoring in the refuge of a Sangha, it has this kind of outside in and inside out kind of movements. So refuge in Sangha is not static, and it's dynamic, alive, and kind of like a living stream, have a constant effect coming all the way from 2,600 years ago, all the way to present, within and without. So it's up to each of us to learn to turn into this inner, outer, living dynamic, such that whatever goodness or challenges that arise within us, that we leverage or incorporate this field of Sangha to allow us to move through, and allow the goodness, the benefits to ripple out into the broader world, so that all beings have possibilities to live with the goodness and to live with well-being. And that's the power being in the refuge of Sangha. So I leave with you to, for the rest of the day, maybe do some reflections of your own journey, your own spiritual journey. What are the roles of Sangha and the community? What has been changed? How are you shaped? And what is your relationship with Sangha? And so I'll end there, and let's together, being in this Sangha, feel and savor a little the potency of Sangha in whatever way that it manifests for you. May whatever goodness and benefits that arose out of us practicing together, may it be shared with open hearts and open mind to beings around you and to all beings everywhere. And may all beings find a refuge. May all beings find a refuge that supports the onward leading towards freedom and liberation. Thank you, everyone. Be well, and I'll see you tomorrow.